Well, hello out there. Good morning, and welcome to A Course in Miracles 365, Awakening to Love. I'm Tomás Garza, your host for this show. And well, I'm always excited to be here with all of you. And thank you for tuning in. I appreciate all of the comments, all of the hearts, likes, page shares, everything here. I aim to make this as interactive as possible. So, if you're just catching this for the first time, or if you've not caught this live stream for a while, we're in the midst of some very powerful ideas in the workbook for students. It's a key component of A Course in Miracles. It's one of the main ones. And what we do is we take an idea a day and work with it. There is some commentary on the day's idea. All of these ideas are very short. They're one sentence, or, well, you can't have less than one sentence, really, can you? They're all very short and very easy to commit to memory. They're resonant, in other words. And the idea receives some explanation, which we cover here on the live stream. And then we also spend a little bit of time talking about suggestions for practicing the idea, which is where the action really lies, isn't it? It's where it all takes place, is in how you take these profound ideas and apply them in your life, in your daily life, right now, in the present moment. That's where all things occur. That is spirituality. Right now. It's why we all say, live in the now. Right? That's why we all say things like the present moment matters. It's critical. It's important. Well, it's all we have. In truth, it's the only moment that we have. That's why every spiritual teacher in the world says this in one form or another. Today's idea in the workbook plays into this notion absolutely perfectly. It's lesson 152 from the workbook. The power of decision is my own. Yeah, it's not yours. The power of my decision is not your power. Isn't that nice? Oh, aren't you happy about that? The power of decision is my own. It's my own. Let's think about what this means. I mean, it seems obvious. A number of these ideas seem perfectly obvious on the surface. And when we go deep with them, we realize some profound ideas are included in this simple statement. So you might find yourself thinking, well, how obvious? Good. It is, should be, right? The power of decision is my own. The issue, if you want to call it the problem, the challenge, the situation, I can think of a bunch of other words that I won't utter here. Perhaps you can follow along with me in my mind as I think of many adult comments that I'm not going to say right now on the network. All of our situations, yeah, all of our stuff. It's our own decision. It's very powerful. The power of decision in the present moment belongs to you. Power of decision is my own. If you do nothing else today, recite this statement and bring it back to your memory as often as you can. Power of decision is yours. That doesn't belong to anyone else. This means no one else can decide for you. And it also means that we can't put the decision off on to someone else. We must take decisive, clear action. It's an adult endeavor. Spirituality is an adult endeavor. The ideas that go in to today's statement are very powerful. They can also seem absolutist and possibly shocking. So let it land wherever it lands. The first of these ideas is that only truth is true. It has no exceptions. All right. And I invite you and encourage you to read the commentary on lesson 152, where Jesus explains this idea. He spends a significant portion of time on the idea that only truth is true. Truth can have no opposites. We may think that it can. It can't. Has no opposites. Only truth is true. Sounds obvious. It's multi-layered, isn't it? We make it multi-layered by refusing to accept this and refusing to allow this principle to work in our lives. So what does this mean? If only truth is true, it means nothing else is true. When we say God is, period, nothing else is. Only truth is true. Nothing real can be threatened. Nothing unreal exists. So what happens to us? Where are we? Well, we're denying this. We're actively choosing to side with a mistaken idea about who we are. That's what the ego is, as a simple mistake. It's not an opponent for us to conquer or kick in the face, like the t-shirts that people wear that say kick fear in the face. Just don't choose it, and it disappears. No need to kick. Yeah? No need to lash out in violence or anger. No need to make an opponent where there is no opponent. Why is there no opponent? Only truth is true. Nothing else is true. Let that resonate. Yeah, let it sink in. So as we've been created, we're unchangeable. In other words, unalterable, unshakable, unsinkable, right? Limitless. Yeah. All of that. Spiritual practice is about reawakening ourselves to the truth of this, which has never gone anywhere. So what we find is this is an ongoing process of allowing, isn't it? It's an ongoing process of allowing ourselves to be led by our guide, our guides, our teacher, our inner teacher, to the truth of who we really are. We're not really being led to a place. What's happening is we're allowing ourselves to be who we really are and to drop the drama. That's what it looks like in the world, is dropping the story. It's a constant process of dropping the story, the fiction, the elaborate fiction of who we think we are. This is what's meant by letting go of what no longer serves you. It's what is meant in A Course in Miracles by forgiveness. We're releasing. We're releasing. And of course, the power of decision is yours and only yours. You cannot put this off on someone else, nor can someone take it from you. It's yours. It's one of the reasons why I say spirituality is an adult endeavor. It's for grown-ups. It's truly for grown-ups. And we don't always act like grown-ups, do we? When we're running around siding with the ego, we don't believe this, or we want to keep some aspects of the falsehood about ourselves, about our personalities, or something that we cling to. Well, only truth is true, which does mean And if it sounds absolute, so what? It's all or nothing, right? Either you are siding for love or God, either you're choosing love or you're choosing fear. You're choosing the ego. In the present moment, it's one or the other. And our choice is, which is it? Which is it? So another idea that comes up that people may find themselves incredibly resistant to, so be it. I don't mind. In fact, it's an integral part of your path. If you're experiencing resistance to this, God did not make the world. That's not what you were told in Sunday school, is it? Yeah, God didn't make the world. We did. How can we be so sure of this? Well, it's a good question. Would perfect love set us up to repeatedly stumble and fall again and again and again? Would perfect constant love know anything other than perfect constant love? Would perfect constant love allow us to go to war with each other, to bomb one another, to construct machine guns and mow each other down, to shout obscenities at each other, to judge very harshly? And if you're answering to yourself, no, there's no way. And I always knew that, well, then excellent, right? I can relate to that. The reality is we made the world by choosing the ego. What do we experience in it? Well, we might experience some very beautiful moments. This is true. We might experience some loving moments, but what happens is they don't last. We turn on our news feed and we see war. We see actual guns and tanks and bombs war, and we see verbal war. We call it politics. And we see combat all the time. God did not make this. Rest assured that he didn't make this. We did. What this means, the power of decision is ours. We can then unmake it. So in that sense, you're much more powerful than maybe you give yourself credit for. What I invite you to do in this lesson, as well as all of the other workbook lessons, is to sit with the day's idea and really, if you want to get more information about it, first of all, read the commentary in the workbook itself. Doesn't matter if you actually own a physical copy of the book. You can find this information online. So if any of this strikes a chord with you or you're doubting it, I invite you to read the comments and see what resonates with you. Now, a number of people who find A Course in Miracles, we could say that it finds them, most definitely. A number of people who pick the course up and they delve into it have a lot of these moments, and I had several of those. First off, I first started working with this course 8 years ago, and I had a number of aha moments where I would run into ideas like Workbook Lesson 152, only truth is true, right? The power of decision is my own. And it's tremendously reaffirming to me. Right? The idea that God didn't make this world of chaos and suffering, because he can't. That's really good. Why? We have the power to unmake it. If you allow yourself to sit with the idea that we made all of this, then it would follow that, okay, if I did this, I can undo it. If my mind is powerful enough to make this insanely complex looking world, I can unmake it. and decomplexify it. That's my word. I just made it up. You can remove the complications from it. How do we do that? Spiritual practice. Decision. Every moment for love, for God, for your higher self. Every moment. So if you're following along with the workbook, I cannot encourage you enough to sit with these ideas and to practice them. You can do it as suggested in the workbook, and you can do it more than that. And if you end up doing it less than that, that's okay too. That's okay too. It's a process, and I really cannot stress enough that we have to have grace and compassion for ourselves, which is not to say we let ourselves off the hook and let another 6-7 years go by while we just stay in the same old spiritual rut. No, none of that. Why? Because the power of decision is our own. You step up and own it. And if you have a bad day, well, then you step up tomorrow and start afresh. I mean, you don't even have to wait until tomorrow, because every single moment brings that opportunity for choice, for decision. The power of decision is yours. It's yours. So let that be uplifting to you. Let that be something that gives you joy and a sense of power and authority, because, my friends, you speak with and go with the ultimate authority when you get out of your own way. The ultimate authority, the only authority. Why only? Only truth is true. Only the truth of who you really are is true. God is. Nothing else is. Nothing real can be threatened. Yeah. Nothing unreal exists. Now, I've said that a couple of times today. That is from the introduction to the text of A Course in Miracles, where the Course says very, very quickly, very succinctly in its very first page, this Course can be summed up, and it says, nothing real can be threatened, nothing unreal exists, herein lies the peace of God. And that's what it is, right? It's what we're all working toward. And we use language like striving for, headed for, working toward. The reality is it's who we are. We're simply removing the barriers to our awareness of this fact, truth. We're removing the barriers. So may you remove them all. And if you can only do one at a time, that's really good still, right? Nothing's ever lost on the spiritual path. Most of us are not about to have a blinding flash of awakening, but if it happens to you, then will you please message me so I can have you as a guest on the show, and you can describe that to us. And even better still, you can teach, right? You can share your experience with the world. All right. The reality is, for the vast majority of us, it's a process, and it can seem long and it can seem slow. The power of decision is right now, and it's yours and yours to make. So Kamal, hi, how are you? Thank you for joining from Pakistan. Thanks so much for tuning in here today. Yeah, I'm loving that this is a worldwide, literally a worldwide global community here on Enlightened World Network. So I do want to invite all of you, if you're catching me here today on the replay, please feel welcome to say hello, leave comments, questions. These are some profound ideas, and I am here just encouraging you to work with them, to entertain them. If you do nothing else, just spend a few moments in quiet contemplation, thinking about the idea that only truth is true, that you made the world, we made it. God didn't make it. Not even. It's not possible. And right? The power of decision is my own. Yeah. If you do nothing else, repeat that idea to yourself and sit with it and see how you feel, right? See how you show up in the world. See what's different. And I invite you to notice that. And we'll see you back here tomorrow. All right.